Hello YouTube! 'Tis I, RootNegativeOne, and for those who are new to the channel, I work part-time at an astronomy organization in Kenya called the Traveling Telescope. In this video, I face off KSP Pro OK Plan B to see who can send the most Kerbals to the Eeloo snowman. Go check out Plan B's channel, his video will come out in a few weeks, so slap that subscribe button both here and there to get notified when it does. Stick around to the end of the video to see who will claim this victory. And without further ado, here is the first of many launches I'm going to be doing in this video. But before I talk about the craft and the challenge, I want to tell you about one super cool project I've been working on in my internship. Well, not I've been working on, it's already done. It's super cool. So, what we did like 2 or 3 weeks ago is we went out to the middle of frickin' nowhere where it was like the perfect position to watch the ISS pass between us and the sun. So we took our telescope, pointed it straight at the sun, do not do this at home, kids, and we managed to get these incredible images of the ISS flying straight over the sun. It was just absolutely incredible. So now, talking about the actual video at hand, we have basically 5 different pieces, or even 6 different pieces going on in this launch. I've got this nuclear tug, which is just a battery of nuclear engines stuck with a bunch of liquid fuel on it. That's going to be the interplanetary stage. And what you're seeing on screen right now is all 4 of the passenger launches. That's right, there are 4 different modules. The way we set this challenge up is that we were allowed to launch as many craft from Kerbin as possible, but only 1 craft was allowed to leave Kerbin's sphere of influence. So this is how I was able to get 500 Kerbals to the surface of Eeloo. And so I got these 5 different ring segments, which you can see being revealed by the fairings, and all of those will be docked to the main nuclear stage that you saw, which is coming up right here. So, I basically did a massive loud lazy method, but I managed to absolutely forget to put on a probe core on the nuclear tug, and so it was a really difficult loud lazy, but in the end I eventually got there and was able to dock the craft together. But then, once the first ones were in, it became much easier because then I could loud lazy method again and again and again and again. So in the end, I had like, I don't know how many, I'll put it up on screen, this many crew modules, which meant 16 per crew module, gave me about 512 Kerbals. This is just a ridiculous number. It's so big of a number that the mass of the parachutes and EVA packs began mattering. Like, this just never happens, ever. Like, that mass almost never matters. But I had to send, like, backup missions to remove all of those parachutes and burn them up and everything. It was just an insane mission. You'll just have to see at the end how I managed to land this thing on the surface of Eeloo. It was crazy. Anyway, another thing I've been working on is I literally made my own planetarium show. I run planetarium shows regularly, but I made a film, and let me tell you, it is not an easy thing to do. It's not like editing one of these videos, because it needs to be in a perfect circle so it can be projected on a dome. It's a really difficult thing to do, and unfortunately there's not a lot of information online how to do it. So I had to sort of just figure it out step by step, and I plan on releasing the whole thing for anyone to use. It's about 5 minutes long onto my second channel, which will be coming out soon, called RootNegativeOne. Anyway, I'm launching the final module of this ridiculously large craft, and it is going to be the landing stage. It's basically just one giant rhino engine with these giant truss structures on the sides with landing legs. It's just, the engineering behind this thing took me so long. I must have sunk like 10-20 hours into this mission at least. It was something else. So next, it was just a matter of completing the construction and docking the final module to the rest of everything, which you can see happening right here. Then it was just a matter of getting myself ejected out of the Kerbin system, and in order to do that, I just elongated my orbit, and then on a second pass, I ejected out of the Kerbin system. One other thing that I want to tell you about that I've been doing recently in my internship is reminding you to hit a like. It really helps out the channel. Just kidding. What I wanted to tell you is the brightest star in the night sky, Sirius, is actually a binary star system. There are 2 stars in this just one star system. One of them, Sirius A, is just a really big old blue star. it's reaching the end of its life. But it had a sister star, a companion star, that already reached the end of its life. It's called Sirius B. It's a white dwarf. It's the collapsed core of this old star. And the reason it's so cool is because it's so small. It's incredibly small. It's about the size of Earth. And right now, they're at their maximum separation. So Sirius A and B are the farthest apart because they follow an elliptical orbit, which means they're the best for viewing right now. And so recently, I pointed my telescope after cleaning the mirrors, doing adjustments on the mirrors, getting it in perfect focus. I was able to just barely get a glimpse of this white dwarf, and it is absolutely tiny. It's incredible that I can even see something the size of the Earth from 8 light years away. Now, speaking of things that are super far away, here I am getting captured around Eeloo. So this giant craft is basically now in orbit around Eeloo, and I'm just squeezing the rest of the Delta V out of this little nuclear tug so that I can get it into a low orbit. Once it's in a low orbit, I will use the remainder of that fuel, or actually I won't use the remainder of that fuel, I'll use the landing stage to deorbit the entire craft. Now, you might be asking, where's all the fuel to land that entire craft? It looks like there's only a tiny little fuel tank. But actually, the core of this stack of rings is a bunch of fuel tanks. And so that's where all the fuel for this comes from. I'm not using infinite fuel glitches, I promise. It took me forever to find the Eeloo snowman because I forgot that I needed to be in a high orbit to scan for surface anomalies. And so I had to just look at the proximate coordinates from the Wikipedia page and scan when I was passing right over those coordinates so I could place a marker down. And then from there, it was just a matter of getting into a suborbital trajectory and just barely aiming. And in the end, I managed to nail the snowman basically dead on. Our rule was that it had to be within 150 meters of the snowman, and you'll see in a second that I just barely nailed that. It was a bit of a rough landing, to be fair, not my finest landing, but still, I think I did really, really well on this challenge, considering Eeloo is not one of my favorite targets. It's just really far away, it's on this weird tilted orbit, and, well, it's just not a pleasant place to go. But it does have this really cool Easter egg, which is why we chose it as our target, sort of as a last-minute winter mission before KSP2 comes out. So, in order to tell you who won this challenge, OK Plan B just texted me, and he said he got around 250 Kerbals to orbit. So with my 512, I managed to take this victory once again, although well done on Plan B's part. Thank you all for watching. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button. 'Twas I, RootNegativeOne, signing out.